Good evening guys, it's your bro Richie Rich here. Today in this video, I'm back with another Need for Speed explanation video for you all. Today in this video, I'll be talking to you all about Need for Speed Underground 2. So before I start, make sure you all like the video, subscribe, comment down below what you all think. Hit the notification bell and hit all so you're alerted when I make brand new uploads. So hopefully this will work around for like the 4th, 5th, 6th time I've done this. The reason being is because I was halfway done with this and my phone kept on dying. So I couldn't be able to finish off Underground 2 even if I wanted to. Hopefully this time I will try my best to finish it all off. Hopefully. So before I start, make sure you all like the video, subscribe, comment down below what you guys think, hit the notification bell and hit all so you are alerted of when I make brand new uploads. Right? So without any further ado, let's begin. So NFS Underground 2 2004. So 2004. Here we go. NFS Underground 2. So Underground 2 is a 2004 racing video game developed by EA Black Box and published by EA. It's the 8th installment in the NFS series. And a direct sequel to Underground 1. So to Underground 1. It's developed for Microsoft Windows, GameCube, PS2 and Xbox, Game Boy Advance or GBA, and Nintendo DS versions were developed by Pocketeers. And a PSP version. So PlayStation Portable version titled Underground Rivals. So NFS Underground Rivals was developed by Team Fusion. Another version for phones was also developed by IdeaWorks 3D, like its predecessor. It was also commercially successful, selling around 11 million copies worldwide and breaking sales records. So sales records in the UK. Developers are EA Black Box, Pocketeers, Game Boy Advance, and Nintendo DS. So that was Pocketeers. Team Fusion. So Team Fusion, PlayStation Portable, and IdeaWorks 3D for mobile devices. Publishers EA. Composer Tom Salta. Series NFS. Platforms Microsoft Windows, GBA, GameCube, PS2, Xbox, PSP, Nintendo DS, and mobile phones. Release was in November 2004. So November 2004. November 2004 in North America for the first one for a PC, and then the rest was all from all from November 2004 in North America for the PC, then North America for the console, Australia, and Europe. The difference is the days. So in North America for the PC was released on the 9th. In North America for the console was released on the 15th. Australia 16th and Europe 19th. For the PSP, PlayStation Portable, they were released in 2005. So in both North America and Europe, they were released in 2005. However, in North America, it was released on March 14th. So North America, March 14th. And in Europe, September 1st. So in Europe, September 1st, both from 2005. And for the Nintendo DS, both 2005. In North America on the 10th. So in North America 10th. Europe 20. So North America 10th. Europe 27th. Genre racing modes, both single and multiplayer. The game entails. Tuning cars for street races. Tuning cars for street races. Resuming the Underground storyline. Underground 2 provides several new features, such as broader customization, new methods of selecting races set in a city known as Bayview. The game stars Burke as the voice of Rachel Teller. So Rachel Teller, who guides the player throughout the game. The game's storyline is presented in a comic book strip, the Nintendo DS. So the Nintendo DS port. So the DS port introduces a new feature in which the player can design custom decals to adorn any car in the game. Next up, plot. The story takes place after the initial events of Underground 1, shortly after the player beats Eddie and his street racing gang, the East Siders in Olympic City, along with Melissa, referred as the best street racer in Olympic City. The player wins a race while driving a blue Skyline GTR. So Skyline GTR presumably was an R34. Pretty cool. And promptly receives a call from an unidentified individual with an invitation to join his team, followed by a threat explicitly disclaiming that he's not taking no for an answer. Angered of the player immediately hangs up the call and drives to a celebratory party while talking to Sam. So Sam is short for Samantha. While talking to Sam on the phone, they're blinded and ambushed by a Hummer H2. By a Hummer H2 off-roader. From a dark alley, which both ramps and wrecks their Skyline. A man with a
scythe
tattoo. So scythe tattoo on his hand calls to confirm that he took care of a problem. 6 months later, the player boards a plane to a fictional city of Bayview with a good luck note from Sam. Referring to her friend Rachel Teller, as well as being given a car key bearing the name Rachel. The player arrives in Bayview and is contacted by Rachel, who's left them her 350Z at the airport car park. So 350Z at the airport car lot, asking to meet at a car dealership. The player can ignore these instructions and race in three events and outruns before Rachel calls demanding her car back. After which, no more races will spawn. At the dealership, he buys his first car using the money provided by their insurance company over the total Skyline. So over the wrecked Skyline, and begins to race again. Rachel became the key contact within Bayview. She explains the layout of Bayview street racing scene, introducing the sponsorship mechanics, the URL Underground Racing League, and actively aids the player afterwards by giving them tips on driving, secret shops, important events, and sometimes hidden events. The player soon gains fame and obtains sponsorship deals from winning races. This draws the attention of Caleb Reese and his racing crew, the Wraiths. Rachel reveals to the player that Caleb is attempting to Caleb's attempting to take control of the racing scene in Bayview by manipulating sponsorship deals in his favor, threatening the player's livelihood, and Rachel's liaison with the sponsors. Caleb attempts to have the player lose an underground racing league, so a URL tournament by by placing Nikki Morris, a Wraith member, in the same tournament as the player. Liaison is spelled L-L-I, so L-I-A-I-S-O-N. So with the sponsors, Caleb attempts to have the player lose an underground racing league tournament by placing Nikki Morris, a Wraith member, in the same tournament as the player. This backfires, and Nikki leaves the Wraiths after Caleb berates her for losing. She then joins Rachel and the player's side. Nikki warns them of the consequences of Caleb's plan if he takes over the city's street racing scene. Caleb's revealed to be the driver of the Hummer that wrecked the player's GTR. So Skyline GTR R30, the player's Skyline R34 GTR in Olympic City. Desperate to stop the player, who secured too much reputation and hype, Caleb eventually pits all remaining Wraiths members in the URL tournament against them, which fails. Having lost another sponsor, Caleb challenges the player to a showdown. The player defeats Caleb, now left insolvent, and celebrates with both Rachel and Nikki, solidifying their status as the best underground racer in Bayview. Next up, gameplay. Underground 2. So Underground 2 is the first game in a series to feature an open world, which itself was based off the US cities of San Francisco and LA, Los Angeles, where I want to move to one day. Los Angeles, where players can drive freely around and explore the city, unlocking areas by winning races. Racing modes are roughly similar to Underground. One race mode was dropped, this being the knockout competitions. A lap knockout option is available when racing circuits in non-career races. Circuit race is a standard race that involves up to 4 cars driving around a track that loops back to the start line of itself. A circuit race is typically a minimum of 2 laps to a maximum of 5. Sprint race is a point-to-point race involving a maximum of 4 cars. Sprint race. Drifting is one of the technical aspects of Underground 2. On the parkade tracks, it's like saying park and arcade, like combine it together and you get parkade. On the parkade tracks, the player drifts with up to 3 other competitors at the same time. On the parkade tracks, points are awarded when the player successfully slides the car and finishes each drift without hitting any walls or traffic. No NOS is allowed. There are also downhill drift events, where the player drifts the car while progressing down the course from top to bottom. In the downhill drifts, there are no other racers, but there's normal city traffic. Players increase their points by sliding past city cars. Unlike Underground, time plays a crucial role here, especially in parkade tracks. If the opponents end up crossing the finish line, way before the player, a 30-second timer will start within which the players will have to accumulate drift points until the timer runs out or they cross the finish line. Drag racing is another technical aspect of the game, a straight line race that forces players to use the manual gearbox. Like Underground 1, steering in this mode is simplified to simply allow for lane changes. While the game handles the steering along the lanes, the HUD in this mode is displayed on either side of the screen, emphasizing on monitoring them, especially the tachometer and the engine's temperature. The player's positions will get forfeited if they collide into either traffic or barriers, or overheat their engine due to prolonged redlining. Apart from these, 4 new race variations have also been provided in Underground 2. Street X mode is similar to circuit races, except that they take place in both closed and tight tracks. A maximum of 4 racers participates in this event, like drift mode. So drifting mode. This mode disables the use of NOS, so disables the use of nitrous oxide. URL, so Underground Racing League. Is a set of tournaments that takes place in a specific set of closed tracks outside city streets, either actual racing circuits or airport runways. URL tournaments typically consist of 1 to 3 races. 1 to 3 races, sorry about that, with up to 6 cars. I was gonna say vehicles, but whatever. Both in career mode and online in tournaments with 2 or more races. A point system is used at the end of each race. Drivers receive a specific number of points according to their standing in a race. The total score at the end of these races determines the winner of the tournament. Special events are next. These are similar to sprints, intending to reach a target point on a map, which is a photographer and the player needs to reach the target within a specific time limit. Achieving this will reward the player with a magazine cover. Outruns is next. While in free roam, the player can challenge specific opponent cars. An outrun opponent car will have bright tail lights, similar to the player's cars. When they use NOS in an outrun, where the goal is to start an outrun and then distance their car from the opponent's car by 300 meters, 1,000 feet. So 1,000 feet. The player can choose when to initiate an outrun and can take any path and or use tactics to achieve this goal, provided they're in the lead. Each stage, including stage 1, has a limited number of outruns a player can win. For example, in the intro stage, where the player is driving Rachel's car, 3 outruns can be won. After winning the number of outruns allowed from a stage, the outrun opponent cars cease to appear. After completing a career, there's no limit to the number of outruns wins allowed, depending on the stage. After winning some number of outruns, the players rewarded with a unique part. Some stages allow a player to do a series of outrun sequences, rewarding the player with multiple unique parts, one for each series of outruns won. The outrun mode is similar to that of both Tokyo Extreme Racer 1994 and Wangan Midnight, 1992, somewhere around there. So 1990, so like over 1992 to 2008 video games, which use health bars instead of distance to determine the winner. The races are divided into 5 stages. Once any stage is completed, the race locations of that stage will be replaced by the counterparts of the next stage. A world map feature includes a menu of races for any prior stages, denoting races that have been completed and yet to be completed. After completing stage 2, so stage 2 through 5, stages require completing some number of DVD events. There will also be 8 sponsor races that wouldn't be completed, since a player has to choose a single sponsor per stage and can only run 3 out of 11. So 3 out of 11 unique sponsor races, leaving 8 sponsor races incomplete at the end of each stage. These can only be run using World Map due to a game bug, at least on a PC version. If running a non-completed race from the World Map, no credit, such as either cash or rep, will be awarded unless the player restarts at least once after the race starts. Got a bit of a rhythm going on. So after the race starts, Underground 2 is Underground 2 is unique in the NFS series. So NFS series, in the sense that it requires a player to drive to a certain place in the city. To begin a race, other games allow the player to select a race from a menu. Most races are marked on the in-game radar, but some are hidden and the player must search for them should they decide to play them. The following features aid the players in this regard. Cell phone/SMS system. During gameplay, the players will occasionally receive either phone calls or text messages. The game maintains a list of messages and game information that can be reviewed via a menu system. I was gonna say message, but menu system is the way it is. They've got cache and info icons. Each stage, including the intro stage, includes a set of hovering icons scattered throughout the game world. As the player explores the map in free roam, the player receives a cache reward or information as the player discovers and drives to each of the icons. So like discovers and drives to each of the icons. Next up, vehicles. As in Underground 1, Underground 2. So Underground 2 continues to offer similar cars for purchase and mods, with a focus on tuner cars. Let's go. Most of the models features consist of Japanese models. Let's get into a good start. So, Japanese models. It says great. Such as a Nissan 240. So Nissan 240 SX, Skyline R34, or Mitsubishi Eclipse, with some European, so Euro and American models. Also, as the tuner scene expanded to full-size SUVs and muscle cars, 3 full-size SUVs, which are the Hummer H2, Cadillac Escalade, and the Lincoln Navigator, move those out the way, appeared in the NFS for the first time racing vehicles, while muscle cars such as the Ford Mustang, my favorite muscle car, my dream muscle car, Ford Mustangs, and the Pontiac GTO. So Pontiac GTO also returned to the series after being absent in Underground 1. Also it's the second game in the NFS series after Underground to offer a Korean-made car, the Hyundai Tiburon, which is also known as the Hyundai Coupe or Hyundai Coupe in Europe, as a racing vehicle. There are 2 versions of the game, US and EU. So EU is European, where each version has 29 of 31 possible cars. The US version has an Acura RSX and a Honda Civic Si. So that's great. While the EU version instead has LVW Golfs, Mini Coopers, and all that kind of stuff, Ford Focuses. The rest of the 29 sport utility vehicles were a new element. So new element added to Underground 2. The SUVs can be both upgraded and tuned, in the same manner as cars. Some of the events in career mode are SUV only events and only appear when a player is driving an SUV in career mode. So in career or any offline mode, if the player is driving an SUV, if the player is driving an SUV, the computer opponents also drive SUVs. But after completing a stage, the world map allows a player to run any event from prior stages, in either a car or an SUV. Next up, customization. Customization in Underground 2 was significantly expanded compared to previous iterations from the series. Visual customization has expanded with the ability to customize the car's front and rear bumpers, side skirts, rear wing, hood, exhausts, doors, roof scoop, wheels, including the ability to put on spinners, headlights, taillights, side mirrors, and paint. Vinyls and decals can also be added, as well as car stereos, such as like speakers, amplifiers, and subwoofers, hydraulics, nitrous bottles, and underground neon kits. Most visual mods to the car. Have no actual effect on performance. The sound systems, for example, could be put in the trunk of cars, but served no purpose other than visual cues. Hydraulics can be used in combination with NOS at the start of a race, which can cause a car to do a wheelie, and for some cars get a better launch. Now doing a wheelie and getting a perfect launch would kind of be, I'd say, impossible, because you have to get like enough traction and like a proper good start in order to do that. Say hydraulics could be used in customizing in combination, with NOS, nitrous oxide, at the start of a race, which can cause a car to do a wheelie, and for some cars get a better launch. Both the performance and handling of the car are affected by cosmetic mods like rear wings and hoods, which affect the downforce of the car. Better wings allow better tuning of the downforce management, both in front and the rear of the vehicle. Visual upgrades increase a car's visual rating up to a rating of 10 out of 10, so 100%. That's good. At least one car in a career garage needs to be visually upgraded to a 10.0 rating to unlock all 10 DVD events. Completing these rewards the player with a DVD cover. So with a DVD cover, and each stage has a required number of DVD events. A car's performance. So a car's performance can be enhanced by upgrading the car's motor, which is the engine, ECU, which is engine control unit, also called an ECM, electronic control module, or electronic control unit. Engine control module. So the car's engine ECU, gearbox, suspension, tires, brakes, reducing the car's weight, and adding a turbo and or nitrous oxide. The player performance category. Underground 2 also introduces a dyno testing system, dyno tuning system, sorry. So dyno tuning system, which allows players to specifically tune certain aspects of the car, such as the ECU, turbo, suspension, like suspension springs, front and rear shock absorbers, gear ratios, aerodynamics, brake bias, individual tire grip, etc. The player can test the settings via a dyno run, which will display a torque and power versus RPM rotations per minute graph and an estimated 0 to 60 time. Now I don't really say kilometers an hour anymore because it just takes forever, so I just say miles an hour just to so I can finish off faster and make it much easier. So an estimated 0 to 60 mile an hour time. Next up, multiplayer. Underground. So Underground 2 has had online multiplayer. So had online multiplayer capability on PS2, PC. So PS2, PC, and Xbox, but by 2010, so 14 years ago, EA Games had shut down their servers, rendering the feature inoperable. The PC version has a multiplayer LAN mode, or multiplayer LAN mode, and multiplayer races over the internet. It can still be run using the game's LAN mode and a virtual LAN, a virtual private network. So most games these days are shutting down their servers, like for example Forza shutting down their servers for some Horizon games like Horizon 1 and 2. They shut down their servers for like online and all that kind of stuff, so it kind of sucks. It's a bummer, but can't really do nothing about that. Next up, soundtrack. Like its predecessor, the game features a licensed soundtrack by EA Tracks. So it's like saying tracks, but without the C, K, and S. It's replaced with an X. So EA Tracks. They're a mix of different genres, ranging from rap, trance, electronica and rock, performed by artists such as Chingy or Chingy. I can't pronounce it, but it's with the word chin and then GY at the end. Whose real name is Howard Earl Bailey Jr., born 9th of March 1980, age 44, in St. Louis, Missouri. He was an American rapper. So Gingy Paul Van Dyke, Unwritten Law, Spiderbait, doing a cover of Ram Jam's Black Betty, Fluke, Queens of the Stone Age, as well as Snoop Dogg, whose real name is Calvin Cortazar Brodus Jr., born October 20th, 1971, age 52, from Long Beach, California, which is a coastal city in southeastern LA County, California, which I'll be moving there very, very, very soon. Just don't know when, but at some point I'll do my best to try and move to LA. Oh man, it's gonna be tough there, but it's worth it. So Gingy, Paul Van Dyke, Unwritten Law, Spiderbait, doing a cover of Ram Jam's Black Betty, Fluke, Queens of the Stone Age, as well as Snoop Dogg, whose best known for performing a remix of The Doors' Riders on a Storm. So Riders on a Storm, that acts as the game's theme song. The hip-hop songs are heard in the main menu, while the trance, electronica, and rock music are heard during race sequences. Last up is reception, and then I'll end it there. Because I do not want to be on this forever. So it's the same as before, with the previous Need for Speed games and all that kind of stuff. All that kind of shit. I apologize, but this heat is just brutal. It's killing me, and I'm tired. I want to get this over with and done. Cause I still got more Need for Speed games I want to talk about, and I literally do not want to be on Underground 2 forever. Cause literally, I do not want to keep on doing this all the time. I really want to move on to the next Need for Speed games. Up until the latest one, which will probably be my last Need for Speed game, and then I'll see what else I can do. I don't know, but I'll find out. Anyways, we're on reception, so we got aggregate scores from the first two, which are Game Rankings and Metacritic. So let's do the scoring. So for starting off with Game Rankings for the Nintendo DS, 65.44%. Says for the DS is for the Game Rankings. So for the DS, Nintendo DS, 65.44%. Game Boy Advance, 69.45%. So a little bit better. GameCube, 79.98%, which is equivalent to 80% for GameCube. PC, a little bit better, 83.5%. It's pretty good. PS2, a little bit lower, 80.77%. So PS2, 80.77%. PSP is the lowest. PSP, PlayStation Portable, lowest. So it's the lowest, 76.44%. Xbox, still a little bit better, 82.61%. Then we got Metacritic for Nintendo DS, 65%. So Nintendo DS, 65%. Game Boy Advance, 72%. GameCube, 77%. Both PC and PS2. So PC and PS2, 82%. Sorry. So both PC and PS2, 82%. PSP, so PlayStation Portable, 74%. Xbox, slightly better, which is overall the best one out of these remaining 6, out of all these 7 games, all 7 rankings for the consoles. Xbox did it the best at 83. That's right, 83%. It's pretty good. Alright, so next up is the review scores. So we're done aggregate scores. Next up is the review scores from different people all around the world rating the games. From these publications. From these 15, 16 publications. Well, 15, 16 publishers. So starting off with the first one. I'm gonna do as fast as I can. So first off, Edge, Nintendo DS, and so Nintendo DS, Game Boy Advance, and PSP. PlayStation Portable not available. GameCube 60%. So GameCube, PC, and Xbox 60%. So that was Edge. Next up, EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly. So Electronic Gaming Monthly, not available for Nintendo DS, Game Boy Advance, or PC. um, GameCube, um, so GameCube, PS2, and Xbox 83.3%, PSP 78.3%. Next up, Eurogamer, not available for the DS, Game Boy Advance, GameCube, PC, or the PS2. Both 60%. So for both the PSP and Xbox, 60%. So that's good. Now we got, so now done Eurogamer, now we got Game Informer, not available for both the Nintendo DS and the PC. So we got a very disappointing decreased 35% for the Game Boy Advance. And then we got, so for Game Boy Advance, 35%. And we got 80%, so 80% for GameCube, PS2, PSP, and Xbox. Next up, so we've done Game Informer. Next up, Game Pro, not available for the Nintendo DS, Nintendo DS, Game Boy Advance, or PC. We got 100% for GameCube and the PSP and Xbox as well. And we got 80% for PSP. And we got for Game Revolution, not available for the Nintendo DS or the Game Boy Advance. So we got, apparently we got B for PC, PS2 and Xbox, and then for GameCube and PSP, it's a B minus. I don't even get that kind of scoring, but oh well. So that was Game Revolution. For GameSpot is next. GameSpot we got for the Nintendo DS, 72%. So 72%. Game Boy, so Game Boy Advance 80%. GameCube 71. So GameCube 71. PC 74. And same as PS2 74. PSP 79. So PSP 79%, and then Xbox also 74%. Next up is GameSpy, 60%. So 60% for the Nintendo DS, not available for the Game Boy Advance. 80% for GameCube, 90% for PC. So 90% for both PC and the PS2, and the Xbox as well. Then we got 70% for the PSP. I got GameZone for the Nintendo DS. 77%. Not available for Game Boy Advance. GameCube 89%. PC 90%. Not available for PS2. PSP 80%. And Xbox also 99. Xbox at 92%. Then we got IGN. IGN for the DS 70%. Game Boy Advance 80%. GameCube 83%. PC 91%. So PC and Xbox 91%. PS2 90, so PS2 90%. And then PSP 79%. Then we got Nintendo Power. So we got for the DS 60%. Game Boy Advance 2.8 out of 5. So that's roughly, I would say, I think that's around 56%, I think. I'm not quite sure. So Nintendo Power, the 60%. Game Boy Advance, around 50, over 56%, I think. I'm not quite sure. Except for the Game Boy Advance, 2.8 out of 5. GameCube, 3.8 out of 5, so that's roughly around 76% roughly, I think. And as for the PC, PS2, PSP, and Xbox, not available. Then we got, so the Nintendo Power. Next up is official US PlayStation magazine. So we got none available for the DS, Game Boy Advance, GameCube, PC, or Xbox. For the PS2, 100%, so 5 stars. And for the PSP, we got 70%, so 3.5 stars. Then we got official Xbox magazine in the US, none available for, none available for the DS, Game Boy Advance, GameCube, PC, PS2, or PSP. For Xbox is 89%. This is pretty good. 89%, almost 90%. Pretty good. And then as for PC Gamer US, we got none available for the DS, Game Boy Advance, GameCube, PS2, there we go, PS2, PC, or the Xbox. We got, for the PC, 88%. And then we go for Detroit, so Detroit Free Pass, Detroit Free Pass, Detroit Free Pass, Detroit Free Pass, none available for the DS, Game Boy Advance. So none available for the DS, Game Boy Advance, GameCube, PC, PS2, or Xbox. For PSP, it's 100%. And last but certainly not the very least, we got The Times. None available for the DS, Game Boy Advance, or PSP. For the GameCube is 80%. 80%. So for GameCube, PC, PS2, and Xbox is 80%, so 4 stars. Pretty good. NFS Underground 2. So NFS Underground 2. So Underground 2 received positive reviews. That's good. Both game rankings, and Metacritic gave it a score of 86%. 86%. That's pretty good. It's 8.6 out of 10. Not bad. For the mobile versions, 83.5%. So 83.5%. And 82% for the PC version, 82.61%, and 83% for the Xbox, 80.7, so 80.77% and 82%. And 82% for the PS2, 80%. So even though it says 79.98%, it's still right up as 80%. So 80% and 77% for the GameCube. So GameCube, 76.44 and 74% for the PSP version, 69.45% and 72% for the GBA, Game Boy Advance version, and 65.44, so 65.44 and 65% overall for the Nintendo DS version. The game was widely regarded as one of the best games of this series and is remembered. So the game was widely regarded as one of the best games of the series and is remembered for the quality of the gameplay. So the quality of the gameplay, length, endless customization, interesting side missions, graphics, and addition of free roam. its elements were criticized as well. Such as having to drive excessive amounts to get to specific races. Bland voice, bland voice acting and strong product placement for companies with little to no connection to auto racing, such as integrating the logo for Singular, an American wireless communications company that existed at the time, into the game's messaging system and displaying it on screen for much of the gameplay. The GameCube version was also criticized. Criticized for unstable frame rates, FPS, and inferior graphics. That's right, inferior graphics. Generally criticized in the game, hip-hop slang used by the characters during the story and in gameplay, such as calling the money bank, the comic book styled cutscenes, and lack of cops or police also garnered. GameSpot gave the mobile phone version a score of 92% and said that it isn't just the best racing game ever made for a mobile phone, it's also a much needed showcase for VCast technology. This game boasts game length and replay value so many orders beyond the mobile norm that it calls for total paradigm shift. Simply put, mobile gaming just got a much needed kick up the evolutionary ladder. IGN gave the same version a score of 80% and called it a big step for mobile gaming, in my opinion. While there are things I did not like about the game, loading and some control issues. I cannot deny that this is one hell of a package. If you want a game that maxes out your 3D headset, Underground 2 is the game to get. DFB, which is Detroit Free Pass, gave the Rivals version all 4 stars, 80%. Pretty good, exclaiming. The racing gears just flat out fun with growling engines, jumps, and shortcuts that allow you to smash through fences. But there are thoughtful additions, including Party Play, the Sydney Morning Herald, founded in 1831. However, gave the Rivals version 3.5 stars out of 5. So 70% or 35%, like 70 or 35%, depending on if it's a 5 or 10 star. Who knows? So 3.5 stars out of 5 and said, while not PSP's best driving game, Rivals is an entertaining street racer that offers quick thrills. On the other hand, the same newspaper gave the GameCube, PS2, PC, and Xbox versions a score of 4 stars out of 5. So satisfying as the superb Burnout 3, which is Burnout 3 Takedown 2004. 2004. It's still strong enough to keep you playing through the 150 or so races. The Times, which is a British daily national newspaper based in London, which began in 1785 under the title The Daily Universal Register, adopting its modern name on January 1st, 1788. So the Times also gave the game 4 stars out of 5, 80%, and stated the courses in this game are just as much the stars as the cars. So as much the stars as the cars. The dazzling downtown locations are massive, dominated by skyscrapers whose light bathes the streets in a radiant glow. Radiant glow during the 8th annual Interactive Achievement Awards. So Interactive Achievement Awards, the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences, nominated Underground 2 for Outstanding Achievement in Soundtrack. Last up, sales, and then I'll end it there, thank God. According to EA, Underground 2 sold above 8.4 million, so 8,400,000 units worldwide by the end of 2004. The PS2 version. So the PS2 version of Underground 2 received a double platinum sales award from the ELSPA, which stands for Entertainment and Leisure Software Publishers Association, indicating sales of at least 600,000 copies. So 600,000 copies in the UK. The game ultimately sold around 11 million copies and entered the best sellers of each console. PS2's greatest hits, Xbox's platinum hits, and GameCube's Player's Choice. That's right, GameCube's Player's Choice. Wow, finally done. Thank God for that. Whoa. Wow, oh my God. Wow. I was not expecting that, but finally, thank God I finished it. Whew. Third time lucky, probably. I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that did took me a while just to get that done. So it's over an hour. I've done that. So for my next Need for Speed video, I'll do I think I got another underground game to do. If not, then possibly the next one will be Most Wanted. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll find out what I'll do. But so yeah, if you guys like this video, like and subscribe. Comment down below what you guys think. Say like and subscribe. Comment down below what you guys think. Hit the notification bell and hit all so you are alerted when I make brand new uploads. Alright, so that'll be it. I'll see you guys
soon. I'll see you guys soon in the next video. But until then, stay safe, have a great evening, and have a great day tomorrow morning. And I'll see you guys soon in the next video. So take care, folks. Stay safe out there. Yeah, like my shoulders hurt a little bit because I have sunburn on both sides. But I'm alright. Anyways, guys, so that'll be it. I'll see you guys soon in the next video. But until then, stay safe. Have a great evening, and have a great day tomorrow morning. So, yeah. But until then, stay safe. Have a great evening, and have a great day tomorrow morning. And I'll see you guys soon in the next video. So take care, folks. Stay safe out there. Take care, folks. Stay safe out there. And I'll see you guys soon. Good night, guys.